Okay, so let's get started. So as usual, we want to start with something that's farthest off. So we're going to start off by oiling down the canvas. Use liquid clear to do that, more or less. I use make my own liquid clear. It's very lean, so it'll dry really fast. I find that by using a nice lean medium, I don't have to use liquid when I'm in a hurry. And I'm hardly ever in a hurry, but there are some days when I'm trying to get through. So let me stop for just a second and address something that came up this morning. I got a comment on one of the groups, actually from a Bob Ross group, which I thought was odd. That I talk too much when I'm doing these things. So, hey, if you think I talk too much and you're watching it after the fact, skip forward, because I ain't never gonna not talk. I'm just a sociable kind of person. So I don't know why people feel compelled to say those kinds of things, but anyway, let's get on with this though. For those of you who are on. All right, so we're going to start with the thing that's farthest away, which is, the sky. So let's work on that first. I'm going to use a filbert to do that. Let's see. I think I'll use some. I think let's start this off a little bit with. I always pick up that filbert, and then I always go, oh yeah, I hate this filbert. I should just throw it away. I don't know why it keeps ending up in my hand. All right. So this is just cerulean blue we're going to start with in the sky. I still think there's a little too much medium on there. It's once you start doing these underpaintings, you'll get a feeling for when there's just too much medium on this canvas. And you can't ever wipe it all off. You don't want to wipe it all off, but you don't want your canvas to be too slick. And for those of you here earlier, you saw me wipe it off pretty thoroughly, but it's still pretty good. Hey, Emily, I was just talking about you. I know you're shocked. I know I'm shocked. All right, so we're going to see if I can correct this painting by with the overpaint versus the underpaint. I know that I got all the shadowing kind of backwards. Not the exact adjective I would use, but we want this to be a family channel, so let's just. All right. We just put this blue in here. Keep these brush strokes pretty light. Then we'll start adding some other stuff in here. And we're going to change up the sky from the original time that it was in here. All right. I think I'm going to add this area. Yeah, this is still quite slick here. Quite slick. That's okay. We'll work with it. Hey Frank. I saw yesterday was Brittany's birthday? That's just wow. It just seems like yesterday, man. We were all. She grew up. I'm sure. I think she grew up fast. I'm sure you think she grew up fast too. just kind of work this in. I may have a little too much. Let's do this. Let's take some of this blue out of this spot, and let's see if we can't. We're trying to correct a flawed underpainting, so we'll see if we can do that. We'll see if we can fix it. Kind of working this edge. In case you're wondering, it's not cad yellow. This is bismuth yellow. So we're just kind of working this into the sky a little bit, not too much. Still early dawn. The sun's just coming up. So that's going to change the highlights all throughout the painting and the shadows all throughout the painting. Not just their direction, but just where they're all going to go. All right. All right. So Frank, it's been a while since you saw me painting down there at the church. All right. I'm sort of happy with that. I want to add a little more blue, light blue into the sky, and then we're going to make it a little darker up at the top. Somewhere on here, there we go. Some ultramarine blue. And pick up the plus. I'm trying to not pick up a lot, but I'm going to pick up some. Take that all the way up off the edge of the canvas. All right. Now we're just going to kind of clean the brush off. And then let's blend some with that. See how it goes. See how it goes, how it goes. Not quite enough paint in here. Ooh, can't mix that. We're going to put a little bit of a blue, purplish cloud right there. All right. I'm going to paint over on this building because I'm starting to develop a little bit of a halo. If you follow my underpainting, you know that's just like one thing I don't want to do. All right. Now, let's try. There we go. There we go. That's better. Oh, my shoulder. All right, that looks pretty good. I want it to be a little more. I want it to be a little more shiny down here, I guess. we're not kind of drawing the clouds in, we're just kind of insinuating them in. Probably need a little bit more down here. So just kind of, there we go. All right. Okay, I'll leave that set for a little bit. Let's work on some of these buildings. Now, this will be interesting because I'm going to have to reverse the highlights of what I have on the underpainting. And as you might have seen up there, there was a spot up there that had to do that, and it was agitating. So, all right, let's find. Let me find a good color to use for that. I guess I'm gonna switch brushes first. Maybe we'll try out some of this. This is a transparent oxide color that I've just gotten back in December for Christmas, so we'll give that a try for some of these buildings, and then I might be able to use that all the way through. We'll see. We'll see. All right, let's get out. That's too big a brush. It's too small a brush. All right, come on, we need one that's just right. Where are you? Here we go. So this ought to work. All right, so first of all, let's clean up a little bit of just want to get some of this excess paint off of the edge of the houses here. Now, you may not be able to see it on the video, but the shadows are on the front of the houses, so we're going to have to change that. In the original photo, the sun, actually, it was kind of weird. It was like there's two suns in the sky, the way the lighting was, so we'll just kind of work with it and try to fix it as we go. So here we go. This is kind of nice. It's a nice color. It's a transparent red oxide made by, is it Grumbucker? Yeah, Grumbucker Pretest. All right, so we'll run a kind of a little experiment here in a second. Let's just get these on first, and then we'll start working with the shadow part. This will be kind of interesting to see how it comes out. I'm not worried too much about cleaning that up at the moment. All right. Just checking for questions. All right, so let's get a drink here. Now, the color that we put on the front is probably not going to be as transparent because it's going to have some titanium white mixed with it. So I'm not sure how titanium white's going to react to this red oxide, since I'm not used to this as a paint. That'll probably work. Let's give it a spin. Here we go. I may have to paint the details of the houses back in when we're done, but we'll see. Yeah. Okay. All right. We're gonna mix some. It's gonna require a bunch of mixing. Let's put a little bit of alizarin crimson with a little bit of this red oxide. So now we got two transparent colors. And let's try that. I'm just making the colors a bit darker. I like that better. So this is more of an experiment than anything, but I think it's going to turn out okay. I don't really like this. It's not very, I could make it straighter, so let's just wipe the, I don't think I need to clean the brush. Let's just wipe it off. And then we'll go back to this pink color and just see if we can't pull that down. There we go. Now, we're going to just take straight titanium white and highlight. Yeah, that's a little bit too much paint though. I don't want a lot of paint. Just and kind of put these highlights on the edge of the building. Then we'll kind of blend them. Yep, that's okay. And we'll start at the top and work our way down. Like that. So we're kind of cold starting on the shadows that were on there originally from the underpainting. Kind of flicking this down, flicking it down. All right. I'm okay with that so far. Now we're gonna, hey Billy, we're gonna okay, so now so let's see, these will be, yeah, that's what I was afraid of. All right, that's not gonna work. Let's get maybe something like this. I'm gonna straighten these walls a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Let's We're going to shift over, do a little bit of puddle painting here. Yeah, that's not, that doesn't work for me. I don't like the way that looks. I hate that tone. All right, let's change that. If you deal with oil paints and you ever think, oh, I could mess this up, there's nothing you can mess up that you can't fix. Where you fix it properly might be something, but let's try. Let's see. Let's just add this to it and see if this will work. At least if it'll work for me. Let me turn this sideways so I can use my hands more steady. All right. Let's see. Let's put some shadows to that now and see how that comes out. I don't see too many people on video that are experimenting too much. Which I think kind of gives a false impression sometimes to people that, oh yeah, everything just, some artists just get right up there and everything runs just perfectly and all the time. And it's just like, yeah, that's not how it works. All right. I wish it did work that way. I don't know if I do really think I wish it would work that way, because then what would be the challenge in that? I'm going to add a little more shadow to this side of this building now. I mean, you need to experiment and do things that I think you learn more trying to paint your way out of a problem than you do painting something that just goes like really smooth. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone in the world besides me, but I think you do. I think I do. At least I do. All right. Let's put a couple windows in here. That looks good. I like that one. Not too much. Here, little bush. All right. Why is everybody being so freaking quiet? I guess because, what is it? Tuesday, man. It's not Monday. You guys should be like talking. Just talking and talking. I don't know. Maybe I talk too much. Who knows? I'm sure I do, but that's okay. Kind of want that brush stroke to show through there, so. I don't do a lot of impressionist type things. That's why I wanted to do this. All right. Let's finish up these couple of buildings real quick, and then we can kind of start working on that. And then we're just going to crisp up these edges. Across a lot of paint, but that's okay. That's a little more thick than I had hoped, but it's okay. So I'm going to take some paint off right here. I don't like the way this corner is. So first I'm going to wipe it back with a Q-tip down to the original line in the sketch. Oh, you've been talking on your watch party? Well, yeah, that's weird how that works. That you'd think they would compile like all the comments in one spot, but I guess most things like Facebook don't make no sense. All right, you're hyping me up. What do you, as you can see, I'm struggling a little bit, but it's okay. I don't mind that. There we go. Trying to decide if I want to. I still don't like that building. This center building's giving me a little bit of heartburn here, so let's take the other line off too. And just straighten it out just a little bit, I think. Put a super sharp edge on this flat. Yeah, that looks better. All right. Now let's straighten up the rest of it. So Emily, you can show Kristen that it's okay to like mess up. Trial and error. I mean, what is the, if you don't, I don't know. Most people don't try because they think they're going to fail or they're afraid they're going to fail. That's where I learn everything, because I guess maybe I'm bullheaded or something. I don't know. Hard to run me off from an idea with a stick. All right, we don't want to get too much shadow over here, because once it comes out from behind that building, the sun's going to be shining this way. All right, so let's work on the road last. Let's go to the next big thing, and that is this part should be in highlight, and this part should be in shadow, and I've got it backwards. So that's the reason the whole reason I wanted to do this painting was to fix that. So let's just do it. I think though I need a bigger brush. I'm gonna work in larger areas here, so we're not gonna have to overpaint the whole, well, I don't know if we are or not. I guess we'll find out. But I'm gonna go to a little bit of a softer brush. Maybe we can work our way down from this side. So let's just kind of, this is some of the paint I had left over from the Amish painting that I did earlier today. It's kind of a nice brown from working on the horse. We can kind of paint all this in. I add a little bit of the mid-tone from that as I start to move back toward the back of the building, because we're coming back around the corner here. And then let's just kind of, this shadow is okay, but this shadow is not. This should be in shadow. So let's finish up the top though. We haven't finished that part. Just paint right over those branches because I can still see them underneath. Kind of leave all that highlight there. We'll soften that when we blend it. Down back here in the edge. Make it a little bit darker. All right, and then let's add some of this right here into this doorway. The door doesn't have to be completely black. Matter of fact, I don't really want it to be completely black. There we go. All right. So we're going to put flowers around that when we're done. All right, so let's just kind of, so that means up here. Now this is where we're going to start working on this bad part. I don't know if it's a bad part, but where it's backwards. So let's turn it this way. It'll kind of give my arm a break. My arm's getting tired. So let's just kind of, so we're using these same colors that we used on the down below. But as you can see, they're going to be a little bit darker, or at least to start off with, they're going to be a little bit darker. Okay, I'm going to apply that really loose. All right, let's pause that for a second now. Now let's get everything blended. I'll just use a 1-inch brush. This is nice. This is nice and soft. I just reconditioned some brushes yesterday, so. There's a couple of reasons to do this. One is to kind of smooth the brush lines, but secondly, you want to kind of thin in the paint now. Some of that paint's going up in the brush, right? All right, there you go. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Emily's got a good point as far as failure. I mean, you learn most of your lessons through failing, not through getting things, just having everything go your way. That's just. All right, so just take a little bit of titanium white. Now we're going to start to work on the highlights on this building. We're going to try to raise this shadow up to kind of into this area some, but the colors might be, well, we'll see how the color's going to be. I'm going to switch to a large flat. This is a nice soft brush, so this may not, I don't know if this will work or not, because this titanium white's fairly thick. But I'm brushing over quite a bit of paint, so we'll see how that lays down. Let those two mix just a little bit before we go back after them. And then let's take another flat. That one's not dry, so let's just take another flat. Kind of. So really what we're trying to do is correct the shadow that's underneath of that. So if you misplace a shadow like I did, then maybe you can fix it. Let's look at that a little bit. It's too bright, way too bright, but it's okay. Not worry too much about the wall right here that I'm kind of covering up, because we're going to work on that some more. We'll just erase that paint that's on there when we get done. All right. But for you guys, it might be better for you to be able to imagine it if I put it back in there so you can see. Let's turn my Q-tip to shreds because it's paint's uneven. There's texture right there, so yeah, it's all right. I'm not too worried about it, so you can kind of see there what you're looking at. Luckily, there hasn't been a run on Q-tips. All right. So this is the edge right here. All right. Now we'll go back and highlight it some more momentarily, but let's work on this edge. Let's work on this back side. I'll do this with a filbert because it's easier. Although I could do it with a 1-inch brush, I reckon. This brush is a little bit soft. Too soft for this, but I can do it. know, when I first started painting, people used to say, especially like in the Bob Ross circles, you know, your paint's got to be thick. It's got to be. If you don't have really thick paint, you're not going to be able to control the paint, and that's just not. Meanwhile, we had Wilson Bickford who was saying, "That's not true. You just need to learn how to control the paint. That's not true. You can use anything to learn how to control the paint." And it's been my experience that Wilson was right on that. And it's the same way with brushes. You know, just get used to it. Get used to what you get used to. So this is sort of a bluish black color that I just kind of mixed on the palette to kind of put some base in here. This will kind of be the undertone, I guess, the darkest tone. We'll put some more other colors in here momentarily. So we had to do this to reverse the shadow. So and then on up here, the shadow is going to kind of go, and then it's going to kind of start to lighten. Well, all of this is, I'm going to end up painting this wrong completely if Emily had not pointed out my mistakes here for me. And you know, when your friends ask you to give you, let me just talk about that for a second. Your friends ask you to give them some criticism. First of all, if you don't really want it, if you just want them to say, "Oh, that's fantastic, it's beautiful," then don't ask them. Don't put them in that condition. Don't put them in that situation. When I ask somebody to give me a critique, I want to hear what needs to be fixed. And Emily does a good job of that. She's like, she don't pull no punches. We might be best of buddies, but she wants me to be better at what I do. So, and it's the same way with her. She knows if she asks me something, you know, that she's going to get my unadulterated opinion. That sometimes that sucks, my opinion, but that's okay. All right, so well, I'm not too worried about that one now. So we can go back toward the front of the building a little bit now that I can kind of see what's going down. Any questions so far? It's starting to look okay. Thank you, Emily. I'm still kind of floundering around here, but it's okay. I'm just addressing there's so many problems with this that it's, you know, I'm just kind of addressing one problem at a time. So we'll see how this goes before we get done. All right, let's pick up this shadow because this is around the corner, and then we'll come back and pick up the highlight. We got a shadow right there. And then we got this window, which we're just going to kind of like that. All right, and then let's put some of this blue color like that. And maybe like some of this down the side. Just catching the light there. Now, if I was completely redrawing this from scratch, I'd probably draw this building, top of this building, even with that. But I don't think I will today. I know, so I'm not bother with that right now. All right, so let's go. Let's see. We've got a planter here, and then we got vines growing up the wall here, so we're not going to worry about that for a moment. Let's just straighten up my arch here a little bit, just a little bit. Picking up a little bit of this paint. And like I say, there's going to be vines and stuff along here. All right, so let's get, as long as we're working that highlight, let's just kind of work it some more around this edge. Just kind of be free with the brush. It's a little too bright right there, but that's okay. Now, right here, where it comes together between the shadow and the light, kind of blend all that in right there. All right, we'll cover some of that up with road later. So, all right, so let's get this darker shadow in on this sidewalk. Or whatever this little platform is. And then, of course, all of this is dark. So let's get it. All right. I guess we'll just work our way all the way across. Let's just set that aside for now. All right, I don't want to put my big thumbprint right there in the middle of the sky, but it's okay. We'll fix that in a second. All right, let's kind of. This doesn't have to be too straight because there's going to be plants all along this thing. But let's go ahead and put some color in here anyway. Just a little bit of burnt umber, a little bit of bluish black. I use on the other side. I want the wall to be completely dark. I mean, it is light outside, so it doesn't have to be completely black. So we'll start to pull all this together when we start working on the vines, which hopefully it'll be set up enough that we can do that. It's my big thumbprint. I'm thinking. Okay. All right. These last two paintings I've done, I've had a lot of brown in them, and it's really kind of weird for me because I don't use a lot of brown. I use a lot of underpainting for brown, but I don't use a lot of over things. All right, so let's just lay that color in here, and then let's work on the brush. And let's switch back. Okay, so the rest of the building. All right, let's get a little bit, just a little bit of highlight in here and there. I'm gonna mix kind of a little bit of a, what shall we mix up here? Let's add, what is this? I don't want too much bright color in here, but I do want some, add a little bit of things to play underneath of the branches and stuff that are in here. I'll let this kind of hang in here loosely, and then we'll see how she looks when we get. All right. Okay. All right, let's finish up the last part of these dark. I think I really want more like. So we're actually going to change the drawing by changing this shadow right here. And that's okay. That's okay. All right. Oh, it's a pot. I forgot that I had a planner right there. All right. Paint's getting slick. It's a little warm in here in the studio today. There we go. All right. Let's go ahead and start working some of these vines and pots and things. So let's just start off. So these are going to pop right off the canvas, I hope, when they're all said and done. These two planters. Figure out where they go here. I think I want to make this one a little wider than what it is. So can you change your mind in the middle of an oil painting? Yeah, I hope in watching this you figured that out. All right, now I want to brighten these pots, but I could use white. I could, but then they'd be kind of pink, and that's not really what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for something that's brighter. So we're just going to take the same colors we've got, and we're going to add some orange to it. So we're just going to move up the scale, and it gives you this nice, beautiful reddish orange. Right, exactly. I just want the wall to show a little bit in the shadow. You're right on, right on. So now we're just going to raise this mid-tone just a little bit. There's a lot of paint on the canvas, so you know, you gotta kind of touch it light, and then we'll come back and we'll highlight it more in a little bit. But I want some of that darkness to stay in there with it. All right, now let's try this. Yeah, I picked up that dark color on my brush when I did that, so I'm gonna clean the brush. And then we'll put the color back on it. Put some sparkle. Put some sparkle. There's going to be more sparkle on this one because it's in the sunlight. There'll be a little bit of sparkle on this one, but not as much. All right. Okay, that'll work for that. Why am I holding a thumbtack in my hand? All right. I don't know. Let's see. Let's go ahead and start lining the vines in. And let's see where that takes us. So let's get a script liner. And I guess, let's see. Let's use sienna. With a touch of this orange to it. All right, let's see. So I have some vine guidelines that I put in here, but I don't know if I'm going to follow them or not. We'll see. Figure out how I want to get. Oh, that's kind of nice. That's kind of... Now turn this. I gotta. In case you're wondering, I have a bad shoulder right now, so I have to kind of keep twisting things around to where I don't have to keep raising my arm above my shoulder. And unfortunately, the hospital's no longer seeing us for physical therapy, so I'm just kind of SOL till sometime this summer. I ran out of paint. Now, most of these vines are not going to be showing when we're done, so yeah, it's not that big a deal. It's just nice to, I'm going to make this part down here a little more brown, just because. There we go. Look at this orange. Just kind of mixing the color as I go now. All right. Now this color on this side is going to be a little darker, but not much. But it's okay. It can be a little darker because it's playing against this black wall. So my original plan, I wanted this to come up and over like that. Disappear off the wall. This is a little different than the vine work we did on the Volkswagen painting, so just because. And then let's just have some miscellaneous vines here and there. Let's make some a little bit. Maybe a little bit green in here, like that. All right. Let's start filling this in. think before I do fill it in, though, I want to do a little bit more on this building here. Just looking at it. I just want to raise this color up a little bit. There we go. Just want a little bit of, let's add a little extra color. This is that red oxide we started off with in the beginning. Way back in the beginning. All right. Okay. And I guess before we do that, maybe we just put the road in. What do you say? Let's do that. Let's get, let's start with some burnt umber. Let's start with this. We should have started with a smaller brush, but it's okay. I can blend that now. I want to blend all the streaks out of it, but change the color. Pulling this color out. I can't lift it over. There we go. That's better. All right. A little bit of highlight coming down this side. There we go. Let's put our bush in back in right here. And we've got a bush right here and along this road. So now we start and put the bushes in. What color? I don't know what color that is. All right, so let's start. Let's actually get some more sap green out here. Hang on a second. Well, okay, let me go ahead and tap some of this in. Let's use the color I got for right now. Now you don't have to color you don't have to like go back over every tap that you had in the underpainting. You don't have to. But it's just a guideline. There's some coming down the other side. So all right, we're out of paint. Now, one thing that I am trying to do is pop a lot of texture up into these branches and stuff, so you know, I'm putting the paint on relatively thick to kind of pop it up in there. All right, and there's all this preliminary back work is hopefully going to pay off here when we start tapping this out. Almost missed it. Oh, here's a branch I missed. Alright, so we're going to have to do that. Hang on. I missed it. I missed it. And you want these branches to be nice and swiggly. Oh, I got too much medium. Too much medium. All right. All right. Just go right on off of the thing right there, like that. And maybe we'll do the same here, like that. All right. Let's let that set for just a second. Let the oil soak into the canvas a little bit. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Sorry, Emily, I just now saw that. I don't have any gold, but I do have some yellow. I'm going to put some more yellow up in here in a second, but tell you what, though, I like that idea. Because it's a little plain on that side. So let's do that with a round brush. I've got some yellow here. Of course, a lot of that's going to vanish when I put the... There we go. I don't think I'll blend that, though. I think I'll just leave it there because it's going to show up with the branches. But it might also look like pretty good over here on this side, too. That'll play into this. I'm trying to keep that pretty loose. All right, I'll play into these bushes as we go. All right, now, let me finish. This brush is still not clean. So when we put this in, I'm going to use two different size filbert brushes. The reason to do that for me is because I get different size leaves. Every brush size gives you a different size leaf, so it's nice to kind of... But sometimes you get going on leaves and you're like, oh, I love these leaves. And you just keep putting them in. At least I do. And then like... There's nothing wrong with that. But I've also found that if I keep changing brushes back and forth, it comes out a little. I like it. I like it better. All right, let's get this brush put away. Let's get... As you can see, a lot of the branches have just kind of disappeared, and that's kind of the way that we wanted it to go. Now I got two different filberts here. Let me get some. What's this? This might be too bright. That's a little too bright. Is this sap green back here? Yeah. A new tube of paint, yay! Sap green. Take a little bit of sap green. And let's switch up this color from the sun a little bit. I'm going to use some cad yellow light. I think I also want... We're going to put the leaves in first, and then we'll come back and put the flowers in, because the flowers are going to be a different color. I'm not usually one to put flowers in my paintings, but of late I have put some in, and I kind of like that. So All right, so I'm just going to put a little bit of medium on my palette. Hopefully not contaminate every other piece of paint I have on there. Some sap green. And this yellow. Now, sap green will overpower your yellow if you're not careful, so when you're mixing it, just be kind of careful. All right, so let's start up here with these. We're going to start at this edge, one with a fresh load on the brush, and then we'll kind of work our way back away from the light as it starts to fade. Kind of move it back in here like that. All right, reload the brush. A little bit more medium, just a little bit though. Don't get too rambunctious. Now, there's a tendency when you're doing this over the last layer of paint. You see here, it's picked up color. See all that dark in there? So, but there's a tendency as the paint starts to run out that you're going to want to push harder, and that's, you don't want to do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just go back, clean your brush off, reload it, and then just go back to it. And then also kind of move around one side to the other. Don't just kind of keep tapping. Otherwise, you'll end up with a line kind of straight across. This is our first highlight color. We're going to come back with some more here in a minute. But now, what I was telling you about, you see how, can you see all of the dark in that paintbrush? You're so funny. Yeah. Jeremy would be proud of you for that. And his puns. Makes me laugh. Okay. All right. For those of you who are wondering what we're laughing about, Emily's husband and I go back and forth with puns on Facebook all the time, and she always like, ugh. Which makes us both laugh, and her too, for that matter. But we're kind of goofy. All right. Let's see. Let's do a little bit on this here. Now, if you're tapping something in and you get a little too much highlight, just tap over it. Just lightly tap over it. I'm just wiping the brush out. Each time I take it away, I'm just kind of wiping it out and picking up some more paint. Now, this paint, it's going on kind of a little bit bright, but it'll darken up a little bit as it sits there. You know, it'll kind of get some love off of that. Get some love off of that dark paint. I'm not gonna clean my brush out now. I'm just gonna kind of start tapping this in, and keeping it. I'm just kind of going back through the same pile, but with the darker paint, and I'm just kind of making these leaves a little darker. Make that one a little brighter. All right. Now I'm going to switch brushes. This will take a little bit more time because it's going to be. I'm going to switch to a. Let's go. Oh yeah, I like this brush. I love this brush. All right, let's get some a little bit more yellow. But this time we're gonna make a little bit more yellow. We're gonna have a little bit of, rather than add sap green to it, we're gonna add a little bit of blue, a little bit of cerulean blue to make just a little bit more of an off-tone color. Add some medium to it to make it nice and soft. And then we'll kind of put some of these smaller branches in here. I mean, not branches, leaves. I don't need a lot. All right. Oh, I see one I need to highlight. Let's put some of that over here. Come here. Come here, come here, come here. There we go. And you can just add leaves wherever you want, like that. Oh, let's see. Come to think of that, I want to put I thought I put that in there. It wasn't in the original, but that's okay. All right. I'm gonna switch back to a. What am I gonna switch to? I guess I'll switch to this round brush. And let's put some flowers in. So I need some. Mix of color for these flowers. These flowers I want to be kind of a orangish reddish pink. So we're gonna take some bright red. Bright red. Let's add some orange, cat orange to that. Let's add some titanium white to that. Times 2, maybe. Yeah, all right. Let's add some. All right. Again, I'm working with pretty wet paint, so you can see what drives you crazy. I probably do. Oh, you're talking about the puns. Well, I thought you were talking about me. That's probably true too, though. All right, let's put some flowers up here. Like that. Let's clean this brush. Just wipe it. Not clean it, just wipe it out. Just wiping the end out. All right. Let's see. So this round brush kind of gives me the flower form without having to spend a lot of time trying to paint flowers. If you want to see somebody that can paint flowers, though, check out Anthony. He can paint some flowers. Grayscale painting. It's quite a. It's pretty amazing, actually. It's pretty amazing. All right. Well, this painting started off kind of a messed up underpainting. I mean, the concept was okay, but the paintings, the shadows and everything were messed up. And I guess it came out pretty good, really. I'll let you be your own individual judge of that. Now, I think, though, before I stop, add just some, see if I can't add just some white flowers to go to kind of contrast with those. So let's put like just a few. I don't need a lot. See if that doesn't make it pop a little better. There we go. All right. I think I'm going to let it go at that. I might add just a little bit of, a little more streaks right here. Just there we go. All right, that's it. I'm gonna quit fooling with it now. I hope you guys are having a safe week. Staying huddled up. Don't let any of all this get you too scared, because we'll be fine. We'll all be fine. All right, guys. I have a date this afternoon, so I'm gonna go meet up with that person, and I'll see you guys later.